Lazarus Planet Alpha, issue 1, Mark Waid with Riccardo Federici on the art. Which I actually didn't know before I read this, so
Me neither.
I opened the first page and went, oh.
And I went, oh, okay, we'll have Federici for a couple pages because there's a bunch of creators listed, right? I didn't realize there was a Monkey Prince backup that, the different artist. So the fact that we got a rather large issues worth of Federici, I feel like we're being spoiled.
Yeah, no, that was a nice surprise. I was not expecting the Federici art. This spins right out of Batman versus Robin issue 4 to the point where I think it's fine for us because we read that book, but I feel like if you're pitching this to people and saying, hey, you can jump on to this kind of event thing that's happening, I feel like you can. You have to go read issue 1 through 4 of that.
Yep.
Because it's constantly referenced, like the situation they're at the start where Batman's kind of injured and Robin's flying them back on the jet and stuff. Like all of it just feels like you need to have seen that. I do appreciate Supergirl being one of the main characters because she was in the Batman Superman story, the World's
Finest with Nazar.
So it means something to her, and it sets up that there's this Lazarus rain all over the world because of the volcano on the island. But it largely sets up that the Red Bull King, is that his name?
Fireball King.
Fireball, damn it.
You're the Red Bull King.
Fireball King. Yeah, and he's got 2 henchmen now with even more stupid names.
No, because those are the ones from Monkey Prince. You haven't been reading, but those are the ones that were springing up. Gold Horn King and Silver Horn King. That he's been. I always forget his name. The Monkey Prince. That he's been Marcus. Marcus has been coming up against.
Okay. So yeah, I mean this issue is fairly straightforward in that it splits the characters that are around because there's no Justice League right now, so we end up with this weird hodgepodge of 2 groups.
Yeah, put together to maximize their effectiveness. So they're mixing the technology users because they're finding out that this Lazarus rain is also affecting technology stuff as well as magic. So they're not too overloaded. They're fairly spread out, which I like. I like that as a concept to get different people onto teams, because I am a fan of random heroes put together. So
yeah, you got Supergirl with Batman, with Talia, and was that Blue Devil they're with?
Yeah, Blue Devil's there.
And then you've got Power Girl with Mary Marvel, Zatanna, Blue Beetle, and Cyborg going after the Tower of Fate.
Yep.
To try and find the magic users, which by the end of the issue they do. They're able to get in, which is fun. But they each encounter one of these henchmen, each group, and so we get a lot of fighting in the middle. We do eventually get to Neza, who's already fighting Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy. So we got all that going.
Who they because they felt something in the grain, they decided to take the fight straight to them, which I like. As avatars of the green, they should try to do more to protect the Earth from something like this. And do we know if this is Holland or if this is our one guy? Why am I forgetting his name?
Levi.
Yeah, is it Levi or is it Alec? Do we know?
I don't think there was any indication in this issue.
No, okay.
So I don't know.
If it's Levi, that's even cool too, because then that means Wade's bringing in, the Ram V era.
I mean, I think right now Levi is the Swamp Thing. At least like in other books recently, like in Dark Crisis, like both of them were there. It was very much that Levi was the current one.
Right.
So I think it probably is Levi, but until we were told otherwise. Black Alice has kind of a heart-to-heart with Monkey Prince about stuff that's going on. She has this awful past that she brings up and how she was treated. And Monkey Prince sympathizes with her and kind of starts to bond. So I actually quite liked that scene because it was. I felt like some of the middle of the issue was just a lot of fighting with the 2 groups fighting the henchmen. So it was actually kind of nice that there was a little bit of heart there. I think what's interesting or arguably just kind of like simplistic about this is that this is effectively a 2-part story where there's going to be all these one shots in between part 1 and 2 because we have this cliffhanger at the end where Fire Bull King, whatever his name is,
there you go,
right, he shows up to where Damien is, and that's kind of the cliffhanger, is that we're going to have this showdown and Damien's kind of the real main character of all this. it kind of sounds like, yeah, this will be wrapped up in another oversized issue at the end of February, and everything else in between, I don't suspect is going to advance story per se.
No.
It's just going to have different groups of heroes fighting various things that are connected to this Lazarus
stuff,
raid and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't know. There's some good stuff in here, like where like they're fighting Neza and they try and transfer power from Neza to cure Batman of his injuries, and we get that great full page of like demonic Batman, which is just this gorgeous,
very scary,
painted, like demonic Batman with extra horns coming out and stuff. Beautiful. Could be a cover, so easy. It's like the second last page actually. Now I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
So that stuff's great. Yeah. Basically, I thought it was fine. Like, I think it suffers a little bit from being just kind of this like mini event that's just kind of here to like almost just fill time for a couple of months before other stuff starts.
Yeah, no, it feels like the Justice League, medieval with the ice, right? And what was that? What was that guy?
Oh, that was Winter is Coming.
Yeah. The winter stuff. This is kind of what this feels like, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with these placeholder, fun stories. That's letting the writer and the artist do their own thing for a hot second.
I mean, I do like that they get into the Tower of Fate because Mary Shazams it basically. Yeah. Again, you get a full page of the lightning striking the tower, and that it's neat.
It looks great. There's a page in here where it's the Lazarus Planet Storm Tracker, and I'm feeling this is because this is where it starts to say what each book is going to be about and who's going to be in it. So I do like that too. Like in the story, they take a hot second to show what. Hey, this is part of the story, right? Or is this an ad?
Honestly, it doesn't really feel like it's in the middle, but there's nothing that really prompts it. I actually thought this was quite random. I felt that this should have went to the end because it felt like the sort of thing you get at the end. It's like a checklist, but it doesn't actually. It's in the middle as if it's part of the story, but it isn't really.
Yeah. Okay. So I took it as part of the story, and then I looked over, and on the side that what was gonna be going, right? So like we have the assault on Krypton, which is going to be Batman, John Kent, Superman, Dreamer, Mercy, and Power Girl dealing with this Lazarus Planet stuff. So I like that they took time to really focus on that. But then if you look at all the different locations, it's also saying like some of the stuff that they're going to be dealing with. If you look at the undisclosed coastal New England town, threat, an unknown person found on shore. So it almost reminds me of the Rip Hunter's chalkboard kind of scenarios where they're kind of seeding. I feel this is going to be stuff for the next year, not just Lazarus Planet, as part of the Dawn of DC. These are where some story points are spinning out of, which I think it's kind of nice.
Yeah, maybe. I still feel like it should have went to the end of the book, though, because it feels...
No, you're right. Now that because I read this first earlier in the week, and I just remember this page making an impact, but as I go back through, it is right at the end of a sequence with Neza, and then it opens up with the Tower of Fate stuff. It shifts over there. So I just thought like, oh, this is just like a, whoever is establishing. But looking back through that, no, it most likely an ad, right, of some kind. So.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's got really good art, and it's a perfectly well told story. Mark Waid knows how to write the characters and give them the voices that make them likable and engaging. All that stuff's good. The story's just kind of fine. Like it just kind of feels like a sort of mini event that's relatively throwaway, but has some really nice art. So I don't have like particularly high like praise for it, but I don't have like I'm not mad at it either.
Yeah, no, it's a fun read. I like the fact that because it just wasn't one long story, that there is this backup, and it felt paced really well this first part.
I got through it. I didn't read the backup for the record.
Oh, great.
I got to it and went, I'm good. I don't need to read this.
So not a fan of the art because and I know what it's doing. It's doing a very manga influence because it's based off a Journey to the West, and the Monkey King. So I'll cover it. But do you want to rate the first half of the story first, or do you want me to get through this?
I'm not. It's a 7.
Okay, I'll give it 7.5. Federici art all the way through really pushes it over for me. So, so this backup is a Monkey Prince story, and it's Yang, and the artist is Billy Tan, but it's Billy Tan doing a more manga style, because I've read Billy Tan's art. Well, I've seen Billy Tan's art when he was on Green Lantern. He did a lot of Larfleeze stuff. It didn't look like this, so I know this is a creative choice. Um, but this is a story of Neza and the Monkey King and how they were once not partners but allies. And it starts with Marcus being told the story by a piece of Shifu, of Pigsy, that came up, and just they're in the heavenly realm, and Monkey King runs into Neza, who's in human form, and he has this red slash floating around him and this double-sided staff. And they get to talking, and we find out that Monkey King knows, that Neza is a demon in this form, right? But he wants his help. So they go, and he explains to Neza that he's on this journey for the Buddha to go from China to India to head west. So it takes place during the journey to the west, which is where Yang has been pulling a lot of the Monkey Prince lore from. And they're up against King Bull Demon. And as part of the mission is the Monkey King has to take this a Buddhist monk named Tripitaka to retrieve a set of the sacred sutras. And so this King Bull Demon, of course, is trying to stop him. So they end up teaming up, even though Neza's like, well, I'm not worthy of this. I shouldn't be helping you. But because without my red sash, he'll revert back into the Neza that we've seen. Because this is after he had been defeated and then sent to the heavenly realm. But Monkey Prince points out, or Monkey King points out to him that, like, well, no, Neza, you have learned from your time on Earth. You are not that person anymore, and that you chose to help me and take down the King Bull Demon. During the fight, King Bull Demon sprouts an extra set of arms, so he's looking like Goro from Mortal Kombat, and he pulls his magical fan out of his mouth. So it's all very weird, Chinese mythology stuff. Which then Monkey King, or Monkey Prince, as he's being told this story, it cuts in and out, and he tells Pigsy, he's like, he pulled the fan out of his mouth. And he's like, you pull your staff out of your ear. It's not that weird. So I like that Yang was taking time to kind of poke fun at all of this stuff. But yeah, so at the end, Monkey King leaves Neza back with his red sash, where he gets confronted by the King Bull Demon's child and wife, and that we find out that King Bull Demon was just trying to do what he needed to do for him, and now this team of heroes had let him basically left him fatherless, or left the kid fatherless. So Neza breaks the staff and gives the kid half of the staff. Then it says many centuries later, this is actually when the Bull Demon dies, and he's not just defeated. When Darkseid, which was from Monkey Prince Zero, Darkseid kills King Bull Demon and the princess, who's the kid's mom, leaving him an orphan, which leads Neza to raise him. And at this time, he's known as Red Boy. And Marcus puts this together that Red Boy is the one that becomes King Fire. It's King Firebull, so we're mixing it up. But and he wants to kill Neza, to which Saifu points out, things between fathers and sons are never easy. You should know better than anybody. And then that's where it ends. So it says to check out Monkey Prince 10. So we'll get the tie-in from there, which I'm pretty sure you won't read, but you guys can catch on me to get everyone caught up since it is part of this Lazarus planet. But yeah, the art style is not my thing, but it's definitely a choice by Billy Tan, which I do appreciate nonetheless. Manga art's not for me. So, yeah, I'll rate this one like a 7. So I'll give the whole book like a 7.5.